Hello, crafty friends. It's Debbie with Make It With Me. I know it's been a while since I posted a video. Life just happened and one thing led to another and a hard drive crash. And before you know it, months have gone by. So trying to get back into the swing of things. And I have a little project planned for us today with one of the new stamp sets from the Stampin' Up! Catalog. I think that you'll love it. I have really enjoyed this stamp set. We will also be planning a Christmas in July event where we will order one or two of the same stamp sets to get started on those Christmas cards that many of us procrastinate till the last minute. So we want to get a jump on those this year. So I hope you'll consider joining us for that. There'll be more information following or in the video on that. So let's get started. So our project for today is going to be using one of the new sets that just came out in the new catalog, and that is the Hand Penned Petals. This was one of my favorite ones in the new annual catalog. It's really versatile. You can do so many different things with it. And I'm going to be showing some other projects with this one. I'm also going to be, I'll be using the die set and doing a little dry embossing with that. So I'll kind of go through those as I go through the elements that I've already pre-cut for this project. I will also be using Ornate Thanks. You'll see some of those sentiments in here, and the Here's a Card set. This is a really nice one too. It's just really cute. And so those are the dies, and I'm also going to use a few borders from this Ornate Borders dies. This has such pretty borders that you can do on your cards and your envelopes, and even on the insides of the card, and there's some really neat things we can do with those. So those will be fun. You'll see more of those too. I'm going to use some of the new in colors, which is the Evening Evergreen, Pale Papaya, and Soft Succulent. And oh my goodness, if you haven't seen that Soft Succulent, it is just a gorgeous color. There is the new succulent set that just came out in the previous catalog, is still in the new one. It was so popular. It was called Soft Succulents, and it's a beautiful, beautiful set. So let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, I always have to put a little bit of ribbon or twine somewhere. So this is the card that we'll be recreating. So to get started, I'm using the Pale Papaya as my card base. Instead of a plain white one this time, I'm going to use a little bit of color. So that's my base. And then we're going to do a little ink blending too. So this is going to be on the front of my card. I'm trying to leave that there where y'all can see that. Let me see if I can move this a little bit so you can kind of see how we put it together as we go. So I'll lay this one aside. I've got my borders already pre-cut. If you want to see how to do those, it's just running them through the die cut machine. This one, I don't know if you're going to be able to pick up that embossing on the camera. I can see it. It's really pretty, and maybe it'll show up a little better as we do our ink blending. So I'll be using the Pale Papaya on the Pale Papaya. So it's going to be kind of a tone on tone, but I think it looks really pretty because it gives it that subtle color around the edges. And I know this looks orange as it can be, doesn't it? I thought so too. I opened that up. I thought, oh my, that just really looks orange. So I'm just going to lightly blend around the edges. Just highlight those edges. And then I think you'll be able to see, I hope it picks it up on camera, some of that dry embossing with this piece. It was, this is the one that I took the die cut that cuts this one out and dry embossed it. Golly, Debbie, talk. Because I didn't want to have the two cut out pieces because I really wanted this piece on this one. And truly, I just wasn't in the mood to color. I know, big surprise, right? Because I love to color, but I don't know, just wanted to do something really simple, and I think this one is. So those of you that don't like to color, you'll probably love this one. And this is one of those Stampin' Up!, they call them distinctive stamps. So I got that color in there, but I didn't have to color anything. It's all stamping. And I know I have some friends that they just do not like to color. So those are just perfect. I've even been playing around with a little bit of watercoloring. Oh, are you all making Christmas cards yet? Because I have started, I've already made about 16 Christmas cards. I'm going to start a new series, a Christmas in July, big surprise, right? And I know a lot of card makers do that. And I'm just going to join the bandwagon there because I am having so much fun making Christmas cards in the summertime. Okay, so we've got our ink blending done on that piece. Now I'm going to, while I've got my ink and my blending brush out, I am going to just ink blend a little of the edges of this too. I don't know about you all, but I just love ink blending. I think it just, back in the day, back before I even started making cards, I was just a scrapbooker. I shouldn't say just a scrapbooker. I still scrapbook, but that was pretty much the only craft I did was scrapbooking. And I remember this lady showed me how to use chalk around the edges of things to make it pop. And I think I still have that chalk, but gosh, since these new blending brushes came out and all the new ink blending, I don't think I've used that chalk at all. The ink blending is, I don't know, it stays on better. I think the chalk was pretty, but so there's the edge of that. And then I'm also going to this little piece right here. I'm going to add just a little bit of color on that one too. I just didn't want everything to be stark white. I like having that little bit of hint of color on there so it doesn't just stand out. And I'm going to do something a little bit different on the sentiment on this one because I like this card. Don't get me wrong. I do like it, but I think that's plenty on that. I don't want too much. But I didn't feel like this thanks showed up as well as I wanted it to. I think it just kind of blends a little too much. You see that? You can't even really tell I bannered it. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to do a little bit of ink blending with a different color on that one to make that stand out a little bit more. Okay, I think that's all of our ink blending for that one. So let's go ahead and get started stamping. So I'm going to do this piece and I'm going to stamp that image in the evening evergreen. That will be my outside layer. And I tested this to make sure it would fit. And now oh gosh, I got ink everywhere, didn't I? Look at that. Get my head in your way too. Oh, yay. Okay, that worked out fine. So there's our image. That soak in just a minute while we get our others. Oh, my goodness. My thumbs are not working today. So here is the beauty of the distinctive stamps for those that don't like to color. So I'm going to take my pale papaya and I'm not going to stamp off since I'm stamping pale papaya on pale papaya. I want it to be full color. So I'm going to grab my little flower here. That's the small one. And just make sure I've got to turn the right way because you know me. Oh, get my head in the way again. I'm so sorry. Keep my head out of the way. When you're stamping, you try to get just right directly over what you're stamping, and my head keeps getting in the camera. Okay, so I'm going to cover that. I'm going to put one more layer on that. So it'll show up a little bit more. I must have done that on the first one because yeah, there we go. And so there's that piece. Now let's do our little, do our big flower. And then we'll do our leaves. Oh, look, I must have had some green on that. I'll clean that off, aren't I? Now you'll notice these don't go just perfectly inside the lines. It's not meant to. This is meant to be a watercolor look. Oh my, I must have had green on this. Oh, don't you hate when you do that? Now I've contaminated my ink. I'm going to have to clean all that out. If that happens to you, don't give up on your ink pad. You can save it, thankfully. All right. I must just not have cleaned my stamps well. Lesson learned, clean your stamps. Okay, so I think I'm going to do these big leaves first. And we're going to do those in the soft succulent. I think I'm finished with this one. I'll clean that later. So we're going to do our big leaves in the soft succulent. And no. There we go. Oh. See how it doesn't go all the way to the end? And if that really bugs you, I know people that just say, I can't do it. I have a dear friend I craft with that she says, I just can't handle it. I can't do it. I can't leave it. So if you have the Stampin' Blends, let me see. What did I do with my Stampin' Blends? Good question. Well, if you have the Stampin' Blends, you can get the in colors in those colors, and you can fill that in, which we may do. If I can find mine. What have I done with my Stampin' Blends? Okay, they'll turn up. And then we've got the small leaf. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll do this little leaf. And here's a little trick. Let me show you this. If you don't ink up the entire stamp, not just the top part of it, like just go off the edge a little bit, this is the perfect size to go ahead and get your color right there. And as I said, it's not supposed to be perfectly aligned. That's the beauty of watercolor. Guys, I am going to pause for just a second because I cannot find my Stampin' Blends. I thought I had everything here. So I'm going to pause just for a moment. Okay. I recently rearranged some things, and I had, you know how you forget where you put things. So these are the in color Stampin' white markers. So I'm just going to take this one, and this is my soft succulent. And it tells you which is the small end and which is the larger end. So if that bothers you that it doesn't go all the way in there, you can take your Stampin' Blends and just fill that in. And it's super easy, and you don't have to do a lot of coloring. So I'm just going to fill in the stem. But I happen to like the watercolor look, so I am not going to fill all that in. I like the way it looks like that. Okay, so there's that. So now we're ready to just cut that piece out. So let's get our die cutting out, and let's cut that out. I was going to pre-cut that, but I wanted you to see the dies and the coloring on that. This is the die that I used for the edges. That's from that Ornate Borders. So many things you can do with that one. It's really pretty. And then, of course, this is the piece that I embossed here. It fits on there. And then, of course, I just cut that out. You get that separate die to cut that out, because if you wanted to cut this out and then, you know, piece it. So this one will cut out. If you wanted to just stamp this one and cut it out, that's the piece that cuts that one out. But we are going to do, no, I had that backward. This is, we're going to cut out this one. I can get my hands working. Okay, you all, this is mint tape. I don't know if you all ever look on scrapbook.com, but this mint tape is from scrapbook.com. And oh my goodness, I am addicted to this stuff. I've stopped using washi tape to hold my dies down, because you know how sometimes even when you rub it on your clothes to get some of the lint on there so it won't be so sticky, or the painter's tape, you don't have to do that with this mint tape at all. If you can just go straight to, you stick it straight to your paper and it will not tear your paper. And I have discovered that you can reuse a piece several times. I mean, I've used this one piece, this one little piece of mint tape to cut out this entire, Phone's ringing. I'm so glad I remembered to put it on silent. So I've used this one little piece of mint tape to do all these pieces. All right, so there's my next piece. And so we're finished with that. And I think that's all our pieces. We can go ahead and start putting things together. I'm going to do a little ink blending on the edge of that too. I think I did that on the other card. Let me make sure. I did. Yeah, I think I'm going to get that pale papaya back out and do a little ink blending on there. Okay, here, this will be a good test. Let's see if that green shows up on the edge. I don't think it will. I promise I didn't ruin my ink. It'll be all right. I used to stress about that stuff, but I just don't stress about it anymore. I have made just about every mistake in the craft room that a crafter can make. There's not too many things I haven't run into. Unless you all have a better one, I'd love to hear some of your little errors that you have done and learned from. Because, nothing, well, not nothing, but lots and lots and lots of things rarely go exactly the way we had them in our head the first time we tried it. So, all right. And this is just a scrap piece. That's what I'm going to use to stamp my greeting on. And then I've got another sheet of just plain white that I'm going to use for my sentiment. Actually, look, I had something messed up on the back of that. Save those scraps, ladies. You can reuse them. So, okay. So I'm going to need another blending brush to do that. So let's go with these. Have you all tried the new Stampin' Up blending brushes yet? I made these labels for these on my Cricut. I just decided, I went ahead and ordered, and they were, you couldn't get them forever. They just sold out every time. I missed them like 3 times. So when I finally was able to order them, I got a bunch because I wanted a brush for every color category, just light greens, dark greens, because I can't clean them well enough to, I don't know how. I've seen people do it and their colors don't get mixed up, but I just can't seem to do it. So let's go ahead and start putting this piece on. So we'll get our glue. And I'm using the Nuvo glue today instead of the Tombow. My Tombow is getting really low and I've got so many glues. I thought I'm just not ordering more glue until I use up what I have. I like the Tombow, don't get me wrong, but I don't know what possessed me to buy all these different glues. I guess I was just going through a glue testing phase. I like the Tombow. I have really good luck with the Tombow, but I really like this Nuvo too. So I think the Nuvo's a tad bit more expensive, but not much. And they both work about equally the same, in my opinion. Okay, so there's that piece. Now let's put our dry embossed piece on. Oh, look what I did. I should have moved that up a little bit. Wonder if it's stuck. It's not. Let me pick it up. Good deal. Great thing about glue, right? Let's move that up just a little bit. There we go. Forgot about my little white piece. Okay. Let's put this one on. I think I didn't put that glue everywhere, huh? And if this piece is a little too long, it's no big deal. I can trim that off. And it is a little too long on one side, so let's go ahead and snip that off, so I won't forget. That looks good. All right, so there's that piece. Now, let's see, I want this piece to kind of overlap. That almost looks like a little fishtail, doesn't it? I just realized that. I just kind of want it to, actually, I don't think I'm going to even make it go down there. This one's going to be a little different. So I'm going to go that way with this one. I'm going to tuck that one in. I like that. I think that'll be fine. Okay, I'm going to leave that for a minute. Let's go ahead and stamp our thanks. Did I not get that out? I guess I didn't. Let's get that out. And I am going to stamp that in the evening evergreen. So, look, I did not even look at, did I get ink on me? I did. Okay. And I'm not worried about this other because I'm going to be cutting that off anyway. So let's just, you know what? That looks a little crooked to me. Let's get our cutter out and trim that a little bit. So I want it to be right on the edge. There we go. And because I can't cut a straight line to save my life, we are going to use the trimmer for this little piece. I know you all, some of you all can probably do that without cutting it crooked, but not me. Can't draw a straight line, can't cut a straight line. Anybody with me? Okay, now I can do some bannering though. So let's banner the end of this. And this is where I'm going to do it a little bit different. I think I'm going to put some ink blending with the soft succulent on the edge of this because I think it'll show up a little bit better. See how it kind of blends a little too much? I think I'd like for it to show up a little bit more. Snip that piece there. Okay, scrap back out. And this is the even evergreen. Use that up before I stick my elbow in it. Let's do a little blending. But these brushes, they're kind of big, you all, but I love that. I don't want, you know, tons and tons of. I had a set of those little tiny ones, never ever used them. I didn't get, I don't know, I just didn't get really good blends with them. I never could get it to where it didn't show lines. So I think you're almost better off to just go with one size and then just ink up the tip of it. I don't know. You all tell me. I'm not going to worry about the end because it's going to be tucked. I think that's going to help it show up a little better. Don't need a lot, just a little. And let's see. Oh, it does. See, I think I can see that better. Yeah, that looks nicer. I like that. All right, so let's go ahead and get this glued down. And I'm going to move that up just a tad. And then I'm going to place this one. I just want to tuck it just a little. Move that up about right there. So we'll blend right there with that flower. So let's go ahead and stick this piece first since it's going to tuck. I thought about popping it up, but I don't know. This one's, since that paper is kind of busy, I thought it looked better just flat. And we're going to add some other little elements anyway. We're going to have our little ribbon or bow with a twine, and then we'll add a few of those genial jewels. Oh my goodness, y'all, if you haven't seen those genial jewels, they're so pretty. And they're almost translucent, so they kind of pick up whatever color is behind them. Here we go. Isn't that pretty? And it was so easy, so simple. All right, so let's go ahead and do our stamping on our inside piece. And here's what we're doing. We're going to do, I'm just going to use plain old VersaFine for this. But let me stamp my flower first. And I'm going to stamp this one in the soft succulent, but I think I'm going to stamp off once because I want it to be just real faint. You know, I don't want it to be a really dark green. So I'm going to stamp off once. And then just go a little in that corner because I still want to have room to put my sentiment and my, yeah. That's a little lighter than this one, but I really like it. Because when I did that one, I thought maybe I should have done it a little bit lighter. I think it's whatever suits you. I like the real subtle color on the inside and on the envelope. And I did decorate the envelope for this one. You know what? While we've got this, let's just go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and stamp one of those on here. We'll just do the whole deal today. The whole deal. Now this one, I think I'm going to leave it full. Let's put it on this side. Yep. So there's our envelope. That piece is done now too. Voila. We're doing good today. I haven't had to start over with just about anything. Except for losing my paper and right markers. Wasn't bad, right? Okay. So let's ink this up in some VersaFine. Our big thank you on there. I love this big, huge thank you. I'm going to leave a little space to do. I wasn't sure how to. You guys, I'm going to try my best not to get my head in the way, but I may get it in the way a little bit. Right. Okay. And which one is this? I wasn't sure how to. So that's going to get right above that. You'll notice I'm using the foam piece underneath here because I'm using the photopolymer set. If you put a little piece of foam, you get a better, you don't have to with the red rubber. You know what this is? They had Stampin' Up. This is the foam mat that goes in the Stamparatus, and it's just the perfect size to do this. But they had them at the end of the year before the new catalogs came out. They had marked, I guess they're maybe doing new ones, or I don't know, or maybe they're not selling those anymore, but they were marked down to like, I don't know, something ridiculous, like $2 or $3. And I thought, oh gosh, I'd like to have a couple of those just to stamp one, you know, just to put underneath my paper. So I ordered some extra ones and they're perfect for that. All right. So I wasn't sure how to thank you. So here's a card. Look cute. It's kind of punny. So let's go ahead and get this glued down. I'm not too worried about those edges. And I still have plenty of room to write my you know, whatever I want to write in this card. So let's put that in this. I'm not going to worry about centering it too much. It's going to blend pretty well. All right. So the only thing we have left to do is let's attach our little bow. Oops, sticking to my finger. And I've got some more glue dots here. I'm going to put this bow just right there. I haven't trimmed the little tails off yet. I never trim those off until I get it on there because I never know if I'm going to want it to be short or long or what. So, a little glue dot there. Stick my twine on. Let's see, let's trim that. I want it kind of long, I think. Make the other one a little bit shorter. Yeah. And look at these genial gems, you all. Can you see those? I'm going the wrong way. Look how pretty those are. And those are perfect for the soft succulents and the pale papaya. I just love them. Okay, so let's grab one of these. Oh, I've got a loose one there. That's okay. And let's put a pale papaya one there. Where's that loose one? There it is. And where did I put that one? I really liked those. Okay, got one down here. Yeah. And I think I want a little green one. That little soft succulent one right there. Here. Pretty. Did we get it in the right spot? I'll take some photos of it and share, but I'll use that as the thumbnail so you can see them really well. But so there's our card for today. And so I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you'll make some more cards along with me. Thanks again. Hope you'll come back, shoot me an email, leave a comment. I'm always looking for feedback. Thanks so much and happy stamping.